All right. So I'm gonna try to go over this for both my guys, and you guys that are talking back there, y'all be quiet because I'm recording this, okay? Give me a couple minutes. So I'm gonna go over this for you guys that are at home that do not have access to paint, and then I'll go over the instructions for those that do have paint. So for the most part, this is what we're gonna do. Color wheel, it's set up. We're gonna label 3 colors, which are our primary colors. First, top of the paper on the left side of the division line, that's gonna be red. We're gonna go 3 spots, 1, 2, 3, and then the 4th one is going to be blue. And we'll go 1, 2, 3, and then the 4th one should be yellow. Now, what are you gonna do if you don't have paint? Listen, hopefully you have some markers, color pencils, because with those 2 things, you should be able to fill this out. If it was me, first thing I would do is I would get all the markers that I have colors for and use the markers to fill in that section. Now you have your primary colors, and then in between these, you're gonna have your secondary colors, which is like your orange, your green, your purple. Now, once I have those markers, I'm gonna look at my color pencils and see what colors I have that I don't have in markers, which is like this yellow-green, which goes in between those 2. I have this red-orange that goes right there. And that is pretty much it, what I have, you know? So guess what? You have a bunch of these spots that are empty, that you don't have that color. So what are you gonna do there? You're gonna use your color pencils and layer them. So like, for example, this section that has the red, purple, that combines to make that color, you're gonna take your red and you're gonna take your purple. And then what you will do, you will take one color. Now I'm just gonna do this small section here. One layer. And you'll take your second color and do a second layer and combine them to create that color, okay? For the most part, what I do is I go 2 layers of each color. So I'll come in with this second purple and my second red for my 4th layer, and then I'll call it done. And that is what I use for the colors that I do not have in marker or in color pencil, okay? So that is what you will do for those of you guys that do not have access to paint. All right, for you that do have access, listen, all you need and all we're going to use are the primary colors to mix the rest of them. So for you guys in class, get you a plate, maybe like a 1/4 size amount of each one. I can tell you that the strongest color out of all of them is red. So for the red, I would probably get the smallest amount because that's the strongest one out of all of them. You're gonna get 3 brushes, and each one of these brushes will be for one of the colors. So the first thing you're gonna do is you're going to take the main color without any mixing and mix and paint that into the section. Okay, so there's my red. Take my second brush with the yellow, paint it in that section, and then I'll take my last brush, my 3rd brush, and use it for the blue. Now, I would highly recommend, because those brushes have been washed, but you know, some of these colors might stick in there, to get you a piece of paper towel and, you know, squeeze and make sure all the color's out. And if you see too much color that's bleeding, like this one has a little bit of blue there towards the bottom of the ferrule. But guess what? I'm gonna use this for blue anyway, so I'll leave it. But if you have a color like, especially on the yellow, if there's any color on there, it's gonna contaminate it and not make it look yellow. So check your brushes. I highly recommend get you a piece of paper towel so you can do that. Okay. So there's my blue, and I'm kind of working fast so you can get this done. So what do you do next? I have your primaries. Listen, it's very easy to do this, because if you think about it, in between these 2, all you're gonna do is you're gonna have a fade from light to dark. And like I said, red is the strongest color. So whenever you go in between yellow and red, you're always going to start with yellow, add a little bit of red, and more. So a little bit of red is added each time. Between these two colors, red is stronger, so you'll start on this side. Blue and a little bit of red, and then more red. And between these two colors, man, they're pretty much equal. I would probably just start with the yellow, add a little bit of blue and a little bit more as you go. Okay? And I'll show you what one of these sections look like, and then I'll let you guys get to work. So this is what I would do. If I can get my... This mask is messing with me. Yellow, red, fade. I'm gonna take about half of this paint. And this half I'm gonna use with the blue. I'm gonna get just a touch of red. Like, I don't know if y'all see how much that is, but it's just a little bit. Because like I said, red is super strong. Out of all the colors, it's the strongest one. And what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to create a color that is called yellow orange. So for me, that looks pretty close. So I'm gonna paint that into the next section. And I'm doing this fast, but you make sure to take your time, try to stay in between the lines as much as you can. Boom, there's my next one. Next thing, I'm gonna just a little bit more red. Then I'm gonna mix it in. And now I'm trying to make orange. So if I can make this look like orange. And remember, always with the red, add it a little at a time, because if you get too dark, it would take like so much yellow to tone it down. So just a little bit. Orange, that's my orange color. I'll paint it in here. And then the last one is gonna be red orange. What I'll do for that, I'll just add a little bit more red. Mix it in. I'm looking for a red orange color. And once I have that, I will paint that in. Now, in between each one of these, you should be able to see the difference. If they look too similar, then you need to change one of those colors so you can see the difference between them. I think the hardest one to paint out of all of these is probably going to be the section between yellow and blue. So, like I said, try yellow a little bit at a time. That should be like lime green, green, and then blue-green. So by the time you get to this end, since these are the equal intensity, it's going to take a whole lot of blue, a little bit of yellow. This should be about equal amounts, yellow and blue. And this one should be yellow with a little bit of blue. So you should be able to see the change, okay? Now what I'll do is I'm going to put my example on the board. And I'll just leave it up there. And that way you guys can take a look. We're going to paint this today. Next time, we'll come back and we'll label the rest of this wheel. We'll do some labeling at the top and at the bottom. We're going to take some black paint and like do the division lines nice and neat. But for today, you are just going to paint in the color wheel itself, okay? All right.